everyone. So rules are pretty simple. Every candidate will have, for the opening statement, 45 seconds, then the questions for everyone, 45 seconds, and then in the end, the one-on-one questions will be 1 minute long to all the candidates. The bell will be rung for the 45-second questions at the 30-second mark, indicating 15 seconds left, and for the minute mark at 45 seconds, indicating 15 seconds left again. So I'm just going to begin now. We have Scarlet Knights for you on my right and our Rutgers on my left. For Scarlet Knights for you, Presidential Candidate Treasurer Nivedh Rajesh, Vice Presidential Candidate Chairman Mohamed Oscar, Treasurer Candidate Chairwoman Margaux Taylor. On my left, we have our Rutgers Presidential Candidate Senator Justin Schulberg, Vice Presidential Candidate Chairman Evan Covello, and Treasurer Candidate Liaison Shannon Chang. So this is questions for everyone, 45 seconds each. Before the debate began, we had a coin toss, and Justin Schulberg has agreed to do the opening statement first. So our Rutgers will start with the opening statement. You have 45 seconds for each opening statement. Give me 1 second as I start this clock. And Justin Schulberg, you can begin.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Thank you, Murtuza, for hosting this debate. Thank you to the Elections Committee for organizing this forum. For years, I have been a dedicated leader of our university. For years, I have fought tirelessly to better our community. For years, I have represented us to the best of my ability. Now the time has come for me to take the final leap, to serve our community in the truest sense possible, to represent our Rutgers. My name is Justin Schulberg, and I am proud to be running for president of the Our Rutgers ticket for the Rutgers University Student Assembly. Our team is striving to embody, represent, and fight for the collective student voice of Rutgers University. We'll be fighting to take on a multitude of problems. Throughout this forum, I look forward to showing you all why we are the true advocates of our student body and why our words aren't just words, they are embedded with action, purpose, and trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Evan Covello, you can start now.
Hello everyone, my name is Evan Covello. I'm a sophomore here and I'm running for vice president. What drove me to run for this position, I guess, were many questions. Questions like how we're going to get mental health services on campus more funding, how we're going to combat the rising tuition and the lack of state funding throughout years and years of neglect by our state government, how we're going to be a student government going forward that can properly represent students and actually address the day-to-day needs of students. As Big Ten liaison, and currently now as legislative affairs chair, I'm confident I can do the experience necessary for this position, and it's great to be here, and I look forward to answering a lot of these questions tonight in this forum.
Shannon Chang, you can start now.
Hi everyone, my name is Shannon Chang, and I am running for the position of treasurer. I'm currently a sophomore in the Rutgers Business School. I'm studying finance and marketing. I've been in RUSA for 2 years now, and initially my passion is lying with Big Ten. I've worked tirelessly behind the scenes for the past 2 years, deepening our ties with other Big Ten universities. Now, however, I am eager to step into one of the most important roles in this assembly. As someone with vast budgeting and wealth management experience, I cannot wait to work with what is the financial backbone of our assembly.
Okay, from Scarlet Knights for you, Nivedh Rajesh, you can start now.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Murtuza, again, for organizing the debate. Thank you, Ross, and the rest of the Elections Committee for doing such a great job with these elections thus far. My name is Nivedh Rajesh, and I'm running for president of the Rutgers University Student Assembly with my ticket, Scarlet Knights for you. I've served in the Rutgers University Assembly in many facets. I've been a representative, a caucus chair, a senator, a chair of a committee, and now, as treasurer, I'm running for the position of president. What's driven me to run for this position is that I think that Rutgers is a great university, and I see a lot of ways that we can make change to make it an even better place. So with my team, the Scarlet Knights for you, I want to see us bring the biggest change to Rutgers in the coming years. So,
Mohamed Oscar, you can start now.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohamed Oscar. I am currently the Student Affairs Chair, and I'm running for Vice President of the Rutgers University Student Assembly. And some of the things that I want to accomplish fall into the things that I've previously accomplished, such as the most successful town hall that RUSA's ever hosted. And in that town hall, we invited student leaders from both governing councils, professional and cultural. We invited all campuses to come. We had a huge turnout. Over 100 students came, and we had over 15 administrators. I feel like the role of vice president specifically needs to have that strong connection with administrators as well as with student leaders. And I hope for next year to run an e-board that's well connected with both administrators and student leaders, so we can enact real change.
Margaux Taylor, you can start now.
Hi everyone, my name is Margaux Taylor. I'm the current Sexual Assault Prevention Committee Chair. And in RUSA, this is my first year. I have not only created the SAP committee, but I've also chaired the committee. So I think I have shown my dedication and commitment to RUSA. But I have not just shown my commitment to RUSA, I've shown my commitment to Rutgers University over the past 2 years. As a public policy major, concentrating in poverty and inequality, double majoring in social justice and international studies, I have been very involved in Rutgers organizations. I'm also a Douglas woman, and I am very passionate about the change that we can make in Rutgers.
Thank you for the opening statements. We're going to go into the questions now. So because Justin Schulberg went first, we're going to start off with Nivedh. And then basically, once again, 45 seconds each for each question. 30-second mark with the ding to indicate 15 seconds left. So it's just going to go down to President, VP, Treasurer, and then the other ticket as well. So the first question is, how long have you known your running mates, and why did you choose to run with them? Nivedh, you can start now.
Sure. So I've known Mohamed, who's running with me for vice president, for 2 years now. We both came in last year into RUSA in 2014 as freshmen, and we were both really eager to make a lot of change and serve as student leaders in this body. We both started out as representatives, him serving as an engineering representative, as a commuter representative, and me serving as a campus representative, and we slowly both worked our way up in the Student Affairs Committee, holding town halls and things of that nature. He served in athletics as well. We have worked tirelessly in various issues, and this year we've come together and worked on things such as creating a text to RUPD system, working with public safety and things like that, and we look forward to doing greater things in the future.
Mohamed, you can start now.
The same question?
Yep.
Yeah, Margaux and I knew each other since the beginning of this year. I actually worked with her on creating the sexual assault committee. My committee was a sponsor on that specific bill. Niv and I, like he said, we worked together. As freshmen, we both came in as eager freshmen. It was really interesting because we both had similar passions in terms of really changing Rutgers for the better, and not just saying that we wanted to change Rutgers. And we did that over the summer when we were both elected on e-board in last April, when we started working on the texting app with the help of the current president, Matt Panconi. We currently have the texting app. Now, any Rutgers students who feels unsafe or suspicious can text RUPD immediately.
Margaux, start now.
This is the first year that I've known both Niv and Mohamed, because this is my first year on RUSA. But over hour-long meetings, both in RUSA and executive board meetings, I've gotten to know them really well. And I found that we have all agreed on a lot of major issues. We have a lot of similar values, but we're also able to disagree with each other, which I think is very important too, and we're able to have healthy arguments. And I think just overall we have a really good dynamic that we build off of each other.
All right, Justin, how are you?
Thanks for the question, Murtuza. The two lovely people sitting next to me I've known for 2 years now, and they're some of the hardest workers I've ever seen in my life, not just from RUSA. Evan specifically, he has been one of the most dedicated student leaders on campus that I've ever met. Every night I go to sleep with a summary report from Evan at 2 a.m., and I have a wake-up report at 7 a.m. The kid does not sleep, he works, and that's pretty much his life. That's the reason I picked him as my vice president, and it's been a great choice so far throughout this campaign. Shannon has been an incredible friend of mine. We were next door neighbors last year, and I've seen the work she's done with the Big Ten alongside Evan. We truly have a connection, us three, between our Big Ten relationship, between our relationship with student government, and even outside of RUSA. We're not just student leaders, we're friends too.
Yeah, so I mean, I've known Justin now for, I'd say, actually, I've known of you for, my 2 years in RUSA, but I really got to know you, I guess, this past year. And I remember you spoke in the Senate, and this is when I was really sold, I guess, on your leadership. It's when you spoke very passionately about shared governance in the Senate, and usually people don't speak very passionately about the Senate. So I knew that you were the real deal when I heard you speak about that. And Shannon, I got to know very well freshman year. We were both elected, and we went to the Northwestern conference for students. So really, I've gotten to know both these people very well. I know them to be very good people, and I'm very happy that I'm running with them as our Rutgers.
So I was, I suppose, fortunate enough to meet Justin on my very first day at Rutgers. He helped me move in, overwhelmed my parents a little bit. But I will say that living right next door to him for an entire year has proven to me that Justin is one of the hardest workers I've ever known. He is involved so much on campus, and it's so humbling to be able to work next to him on something as important as this. Evan, yes, I did go to Chicago with him, with Christine and Louis, of RUSA a few years ago. We were both so passionate for the Big Ten, and that really connected us immediately. So between these two, I honestly am so proud to be able to be running alongside them.
Okay, next question. Justin, we'll start off with this one. What do you believe is one of the biggest problems facing Rutgers University New Brunswick students today? What's one way you plan on resolving this issue? Justin, when you're ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. So the largest problem that I see surrounding Rutgers is alcohol. There's a huge culture surrounding alcohol, not just how much people drink, but the practices that they go through throughout the night. One thing that our ticket's done, which is hugely innovative, was tabling actually at fraternity parties this past weekend, handing out water bottles. Because we believe that people, even if they are drinking, and 90% of students drink, even though only 25% can do so legally, they need to be practicing safe drinking habits. They need to space out their drinks. They need to be holding a water bottle in between. It was honestly surprising to be handing out water to students and have them be so surprised that they were getting water, that they were drinking water. That needs to be a norm at Rutgers University, and it's not one now.
Evan Camillo.
So I think one of the biggest problems that I've gotten to learn a lot about through the Big Ten and through our community is mental health funding and in mental health services. I've spoken to Big Ten schools about this. I've spoken to county freeholders about this, and the problem is the same everywhere we go. Services are in high demand, and the demand goes up every year, but funding is lacking, and this happens every year. So something that I was working hard with the Athletic Affairs Committee and a lot of members on our ticket on is the selling of alcohol in stadiums, which is a program that's utilized. It's been very successful, and it's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in new revenue, which they're allocating towards their CAP services.
Good.
Like Evan, I also honestly agree that mental health in this campus is far too prevalent. Too many people don't realize on campus what resources are available to them, and partly that is because they are very underfunded, but also this is because that there is a massive stigma against mental health here on campus, and that is something we need to help address and end. We need to be attempting to end this stigma, we need to be expressing empathy, and we need to be letting people know that there are resources out there and that it is okay for them to seek help from them. Too many people suffer from anxiety attacks, from eating disorders. A student last year in my dorm attempted to commit suicide. People here do not realize that there are comfortable and professional and safe spaces that they can go to seek help from, and that is something we need to change on campus.
Niv?
Yeah, so I've had the fortune of being able to serve in the Student Affairs Committee and the University Affairs Committee Chair also this past year in RUSA, and one of the things I've seen that is a big concern at RUSA is definitely public safety. We've all seen that the number of crime alerts on campus has increased over the past year and two. And one thing that has been especially disturbing to me is that often you'll see crime alerts of people getting mugged in the middle of the day or in evenings at convenience stores, being held at gunpoint, and things like that. And I think that's something that definitely needs to change. One of the things I worked on this past year was with Chief Kenneth Kopp of RUPD was implementing a text to RUPD system. So that way now students can text RUPD when they feel unsafe late at night. This has already gone a long way, and hundreds of messages have been sent, but we want to take these steps even further.
Mohamed.
So I think the biggest issue on campus is something that hasn't been talked about at all yet, which is affordability. Affordability to me is not just a personal issue, but an issue that I've seen last year at my first Senate meeting. Actually, not my first Senate meeting, at one of the budget hearing meetings where people were crying, telling the Board of Governors and Board of Trustees that they can barely afford to go to college and that they have to work extra jobs and miss class just so they can pay off their college tuition. And I think that's something that if the Student Assembly, even though it might seem like a difficult issue, if they're not addressing that directly, then we're not really doing our job. And I think before this year, we had a one-page budget for all of Rutgers, including Camden and Newark, and now we have 26-page.
Margaux.
So I'm sure as the Sexual Assault Prevention Committee Chair, you all expect me to say sexual assault, but I actually think it's the connection that students have at Rutgers. I think students are very disconnected from each other, whether it's across schools, across gender, across religion. I think students need to connect more to each other, and that's how we can help stop issues like mental illness, like sexual assault, even tuition. I think we can all, if we all are able to connect together, we're able to be a stronger community. I think we're able to tackle a lot more issues, and we're able to help each other out in a much stronger way. And I think that RUSA would be able to do that by going to different organizations and inviting different student organizations to RUSA meetings and to different events to help create cohesion.
All right, so what we're going to do now is when the question's asked, Justin will go first. Wait, you went first last time?
This past question, I
Yeah,
went first.
okay, so Niv will start off the question, and it'll be Niv, Justin, VP, treasurer, all right?
Yep.
So the question is, because many students may not know about RUSA, several student populations within the university feel like their needs are being neglected. How would you begin to repair those relationships? Niv?
Yeah. So in the past in RUSA, we have a public relations committee in RUSA, and one of the goals of the public relations committee is to put out, posts on Facebook, on our website, on our Twitter about the things that we are doing and things like that. I'd like to take that a step further. I think we need to not just do public PR, but we have to do outreach. We need to be able to connect with a lot of different student clubs, do programming, do joint initiatives with other of the big clubs on big organizations on campus, whether it be the governing councils, even tabling with organizations such as RUPA and things like that, because we need to have more of a connection to the student. One thing that's going a long way towards that is providing water bottles to all of the freshmen at new student orientation. RUSA is providing 8,500 water bottles to all the freshmen transferring international students. So that's going to go a long way towards our programming.
Justin?
So that's a great question, and it's definitely something that RUSA struggled with in the past. We are going to be doing more outreach, and you can guarantee that we're going to be doing that because our ticket did that last week. We tabled for 50 hours, and if we are elected, we're not going to be sitting around in the SAC waiting for students to come into our office hours. We are going to be doing mobile office hours on every single campus, every single week, reaching out to students. For other governing councils, honestly, it comes with the personal relationships. Now, I can say that as a student leader who's dipped his foot in almost every single facet of the university, I have those connections. I know the next group of directors. I know the next chair of the allocations board. I know the people running for president of the OCSA, for the EGC, for other governing councils. I can make those connections.
Mohamed?
Same question. Okay. I think that's Justin brought up really good points. Is that you have to reach out to all these different organizations. But one thing I will have to disagree with is that I don't think you can ever, as a Rutgers student, reach every single student organization. And I think it's one of those goals that you set for yourself, but you never necessarily can accomplish because there are 40,000 undergraduate students here, and no matter how long you stay at Rutgers, you'll always meet someone new. But that doesn't mean we can't try. And I think the number one goal we should do is, like Niv said, is put more pressure on the Public Relations Committee to really focus their attention on reaching out to all the organizations. We can't do it on our own as RUSA. We need to reach out to other governing councils. We need to reach out to other student organizations and other student leaders to attract their like-minded students. I like the ding.
Evan?
So one of the ideas that we've been talking about in our ticket is almost creating some sort of way, an alternative to town halls, which we would call advisory committees. Advisory committees could be comprised of people all over the university and making them student-based rather than town halls currently are, which is more administratively based. Something that we should be trying to do is coming up with the solutions to problems, not just as elected RUSA members or as a ticket, but actually with students who are living these problems just like we are. Something that we should be doing is trying to create these external committees outside of RUSA and connect people to the problems that they're passionate about so we can find solutions together.
Margaux?
I actually think Evan brought up a great point in that I think we need to connect students to the issues that they are passionate about, and we need to give students a voice. If we're listening to students and we're listening to their concerns, more students are going to be more comfortable coming to us and sharing their concerns and working with us. And that goes vice versa. When we're going out and doing that outreach with our PR committee, other students will be more comfortable hearing what we have to say and inviting us to other meetings. So I think we really need to stress the PR committee, but not just the PR committee, but having PR in every single committee that we currently have to ensure that what is happening is known about and what needs to happen in RUSA happens.
Okay, so we're going to start out with Justin Schulberg. You're going to have... Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Wow. Sorry, Shannon. Ready?
Yeah.
Cool.
RUSA funds through allocations nearly all registered student organizations on campus. We are the ones, taking care of their student fees. I think if students realize that, they would come to us and actually address the problem that they want addressed. So like Evan and Justin have been saying, we want to reach out to the students directly, hear from them, and hear what they want us to do. And I think if we really focus on the fact that RUSA is trying to do the best with with their money, then they'll actually talk to us.
Cool. Did I miss anyone? We're good? Okay. Okay, so this is again the 1 minute section. Each candidate gets 1 minute. At the 45-second mark, I will ding it, leaving you 15 seconds left. So Justin Schulberg, your question is, you currently serve as the IFC VP of Administration. If elected, you would be expected to resign from that position. However, resigning from such a position shows a lack of commitment in that you're willing to abandon one responsibility if a better opportunity comes along. What would you say to those who fear you may do the same thing to RUSA given another opportunity, like a conflicting job? You have 1 minute. You can start now.
That's an incredible question, Murtuza, and thank you for giving that to me. I'd like to address that, and I was planning on doing that anyways. So when I actually took on the position, during my interview, I was interviewed by the former president of the IFC and the advisor, and they knew about my intentions to run for RUSA president at the time. And they asked me, what are you going to do? And I said straight to them, with no lie, with nothing in my teeth, I said, I will resign from the IFC Vice President of Administration position if I become RUSA president. There is no greater honor at this university than to be the president of the student body. And I told them, look, I will serve in this position for a few months. I'm going to run for RUSA president. If students believe in me, if they vote me in, then I'll have to resign. If not, I will continue on as the IFC vice president. And they said, Justin, you've been one of the most change-making leaders in the IFC history. Having served on it for 2 years, we need your experience. We can't do this without you. So yes, I will be leading this university onto a new frontier, and I will not be resigning my RUSA presidency role if I win that.
Thank you. Niv. When the treasurer position became vacant, despite the abundance of competent candidates, you resigned as University Affairs Chair in order to run for a top 3 position. Many would say that this was not for the betterment of the body, rather, it was for personal gain, a position that may progress oneself to run for a future president. How would you respond to this claim? You could begin.
So, So this past year I served as the University Affairs Chair, and in December when our former treasurer resigned, I did run for the position of treasurer. But I ran for the position of treasurer because I believed I was the best person to do the job. I already spoken extensively with our current treasurer about the position, and a lot of the initiatives that I'd worked on in the University Affairs Committee have been largely completed, including initiatives like the text to our UPD system, an initiative to fix a traffic light outside of George Street, and initiatives to work with dining services. And the person I'd selected to take my, that I was expecting to take my spot as University Affairs Chair had worked with me very closely throughout the process. So I felt that in that position, I could really do RUSA best, because if we need someone very capable to manage the budget, and I felt like I was the person for that job.
Thank you. Evan Cabello, the question is, the past VPs have been extensively involved in their own committees prior to being elected VP. You, however, have only been involved in RUSA committee structure for less than half of a semester. How will you be able to transfer from minimal involvement within committees to being responsible with overseeing them all? You can start now.
Well, sure, and I'll talk about my time as Legislative Committee Chair. So as Legislative Affairs Chair, we've actually been probably the most productive committee, most productive Legislative Affairs Committee that we've had in years in RUSA. And I've been leading them in the right direction, where we are going to be looking into more legislation, which we've done. We've passed resolutions already to support legislation on the state and federal level. and we've been reaching out to people in the community. So I would say that I've gained ample experience being legislative affairs chair in a very short amount of time. But I don't want to disparage the position I had prior, which was Big Ten liaison. I learned a lot from other vice presidents around the entire country, some of the best student leaders I've ever met. I've learned from them that communication is very important when being vice president. And as vice president, I feel that I've gained the experience through Big Ten and by being a committee chair to properly handle the position.
Thank you. Mohamed, your question is, in preparing to run for the NG Democrats alongside with the position of VP, you seem to over-delegate by putting all your responsibilities on your committee members rather than fulfilling many of your own responsibilities. As VP, you can diffuse responsibilities to that extent. How do you respond to this claim? You can start now.
A very valid claim to bring up, and you can ask any of my committee members. I've never let them go to a meeting without my presence, no matter how difficult or how busy I was. With that being said, I plan on doing the same as vice president. The vice president role in RUSA essentially kind of delegates work to all the different chairs and makes sure they're consistently meeting with administrators and getting stuff done at Rutgers. And my goal as vice president would be to involve myself in all of those actions. So for all these chairs that are going to be elected in April, and they're going to have to start meeting with administrators they've never met before, I plan on attending every single one of those meetings so that they can transition equally well through the year, and that way they'll be able to accomplish things faster, and we can get more change happen faster, and not just have it wait until the middle of the year. The main thing for a vice president is to be able to delegate work well, and I think you can ask anyone on my committee to testify for me that I've not only assisted them, but I've also let them take the lead at some points.
Thank you. Chang, your question is, while your work was apparent at the ABTS conference, you did most of the behind-the-scenes work. How do you think you'll be able to transfer to a position which requires immense work in front of the body? You can start now.
So I was actually expecting this, to be honest. I'm the first to admit that I don't participate in legislation as much as my constituents do, but I don't think anyone can fairly say that I don't contribute to the work that I should be doing. And I don't carry my weight. For a treasurer position, it is actually very similar to what I do now in terms of behind-the-scenes work. You have to create a budget, you have to work with your peers, you have to work with other members of RUSA to make sure that the budget is being carried out smoothly, that our funds are being used in the right way and efficiently, and it's with working with allocations. I would work tirelessly to make sure that we are as transparent as we can be to the rest of the body, and I would want to make sure that the process of allocations is very well known to every single person here. I'd be very open to listen to whatever anyone had to say, and if anyone had any issues at all to address to me, I would be completely open to addressing those on the spot.
Thank you. Margaux Taylor, your question is, as the sexual assault prevention chair, you spent the least money and rarely, if ever, interacted with the treasurer. How do you plan on going from a position where you almost never dealt with the treasurer, with the treasurer and their duties, to a position in which you are dealing with a six-figure budget? You can start now.
So I think it's strange that you asked me why, how spending not a lot of money is a bad thing. I think it's a good thing to not have to spend a lot of money and get things done. But as to your question on how I'm qualified to be treasurer, aside from the fact that I'm very organized, I know how to use Excel, I've also gone through SABO training and currently act as a treasurer, as a peer academic leader. So I do know how the SABO process works. I am on the e-board of other organizations, so I also know how to apply for funding from SABO. And aside from that, I'm a public policy major, so I've taken classes in management and administration on how to create a budget on the government, nonprofit, non-government organization scale.
Thank you. First question will go to Nivedh Rajesh. Nivedh, your question is, as the UA chair, a major criticism was a lack of delegation on your part, in that you chose to do tasks on your own. How do you expect to run an assembly that requires immense delegation at all times, when some may say you haven't done so as chair? You may start now.
That's a good question. So one of the big things that happened this past semester is that UA wasn't, the University Affairs Committee wasn't the same as it has been in previous years. We worked on very big initiatives this past semester. One of those huge initiatives was making sure that we were working with RUPD constantly to implement a text to RUPD system. But no matter what initiative I worked on, I made sure to involve my committee members to some extent. When we tried to fix, so in the beginning of the first semester of this year, the traffic light on George Street outside the Student Activity Center was not working well for pedestrians and cars, and there were accidents waiting to happen. I not only videotaped the traffic light myself, but I asked my committee members to send me Snapchats or get on buses and take recordings of things that if they saw overcrowding on buses and things of that nature, and send those to me so that way I could send those to the Department of Transportation. They also worked with me really well on initiatives such as Meal Swipes for Charity, which we did in the fall as well. So there were a lot of times I involved.
Justin, your question is, you claim that sexual assault prevention is of paramount importance in your campaign. However, during the vote deciding whether or not the Sexual Assault Committee was to become a permanent committee, you abstained from the vote. How can you claim that this is an important issue when you could not take a stand regarding the permanence of an issue such as this? You may start now.
Right, Murtuza. So I'd like to actually bring out the full information from that vote. So there were actually two votes that took place. The first one, I admit I abstained on. The bill that we sent to the floor was for the creation of an ad hoc committee for sexual assault prevention. It was amended on the floor to be a permanent committee, yet the wording in the bill did not reflect that. I abstained from the vote because I felt very, very passionately about the issue, but I didn't feel like the committee was structured properly. Fast forward 2 weeks, the bill was rewritten as a standing committee with the correct wording, and I voted yes. On top of that, I then joined and offered to join the committee to connect the Sexual Assault Prevention Committee with not just the Greek community, but to take on federal legislative issues because of my legislative experience. I've worked with Margaux Taylor, the chair of the committee, who has done incredible work, and we passed a resolution opposing the Fair and Safe Campus Act, 2 pieces of federal legislation which would move the adjudicatory power of the university to deal with sexual assault cases to law enforcement, which is an atrocious rate of dealing with that. And we've done incredible work this year on the committee.
Thank you. Mohamed, your question is, based on IA records, internal affairs records, you show a clear disregard for office hours. Based on those records, you have either missed hours completely or showed up extremely late to the hours you did come to. Up until the start of the campaigning period, this has been the norm. How do you think you will be able to competently complete all time and duties of the VP if you cannot even show up to your scheduled 3 hours in a given week? You can start now.
So that's a great question. I'm interested because I've never gotten an email from IA saying that I'm in warning of having too many absences or having too many lates. So, but from that point, I'll say that I think office hours is very important, and it was just implemented this year. And I think it's really important for us to adapt to certain things, and I feel like I've adapted to office hours by the end of the year. And to put that in perspective, we have 3 hours every week that we must accomplish at certain times. And you can ask different people in the office, but I've not only accomplished those 3 hours, but I've accomplished much more. And I think, a question like this kind of doesn't reflect on what work I put in as student affairs chair, because there are a lot of other meetings on a weekly basis that aren't put into it. So I think just quoting on office hours when I haven't gotten a response from IA about my attendance or my tardies kind of seems shocking to me.
Thank you. Chang. Shannon, your question is, a look at your RUSA attendance record shows a lack of attendance at RUSA meetings up until you ran for the vacant treasurer election. Only then did you begin to attend general body meetings. How would you respond to claims that your attendance record shows a clear path to personal gain rather than betterment for the student body? You may start now.
So I'll be completely honest. Initially last year, RUSA was something I was a part of, but I did not fully commit my time. But I will say that it was actually before I decided to run for treasurer. Actually, Justin did sit me down. A few other people did as well. Some people on the board, and they said you have to choose whether or not you want to really be committed to something that you're being a part of. And I decided that RUSA was something that I had literally started my very first semester, fall freshman year, and that it was worth it to really just commit all of my time and to really make it my passion to go farther in RUSA. It's not just for personal gain, it's for the betterment, I think, of our entire assembly, that if I really put my best work forward.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Margaux and then Evan. Margaux, your question is, Second. At the beginning of the semester, there was an immense conflict surrounding the Sexual Assault Prevention Committee. You happened to be at the center of that conflict, which generated lots of negative publicity. As treasurer, you will have to consistently deal with lots of conflicts. Moving forward, how can you better deal with conflicts surrounding allocations for student groups? You may start now.
Well, I think my relationship with the executive board and with people in RUSA has showed that I can deal with conflict very well. I think I have a very good relationship with most of the people, if not all of the people in RUSA. And I think that's a very important part of conflicts with allocations is having a good relationship with the people you're talking to and who are advocating for their organizations and understanding where they're coming from, which I do understand having been on the e-board of other organizations. And so I think the best thing to do is hear people out, because ultimately that's what they want, is to have their voice heard, and like giving them that opportunity is going to go a long way, not just for them but for me, and being able to understand what they want, what they need, and what I can give to them as treasurer.
Thank you. Evan, your question is, many would say that your lack of experience within the executive board of RUSA and lack of experience within the various aspects of student life suggests that the idea that you could be riding on the coattails of the other candidates on your ticket. How do you respond to this claim? You may start now.
Well, look, with the experience that I've had, advocating for student needs through the Big Ten, I've been to Washington, D.C. to advocate for student needs to legislators, and I've done a lot of work in RUSA, and I think that I'm perfectly qualified to hold this position, and I don't need to ride the coattails of anyone. I think that I would point to my experience, and I would point to my dedication to RUSA to show that students can support me, not just because, I'm not involved in, 10, 20 clubs on campus, but I've committed myself to RUSA and to do a better job with that. So I don't need to ride on anyone's coattails, and people are supporting our ticket at Rutgers, not just because, we have, big names on our ticket, but they've seen our platform, a platform that I've worked on extensively, and they see that we're very qualified candidates.
Thank you. So this last question is going to be 45 seconds long. It's going to be for everyone, same question for everyone. We're going to start off with Justin, and the question is going to be, both tickets have very similar parallel platforms, including sexual assault, mental health, and college affordability. Why do you think your ticket would do a better job at executing these platforms? You may start now.
That's an incredible question. And what I would say to everyone is to go onto our website, both of our websites, Sky's website, voteskyru.com, and ourrutgers.com, and not just look at the solutions we offer because they are similar, but look at the experience. For example, if you read their website, it'll say that they want to take on college affordability. They want to work with the Rutgers Office of Federal Relations. But look at their experience. They have not done any of that. Look at our experience. I not only have a working relationship with Francine Pfeiffer, Alex Herman, Rachel Marcus from the Rutgers Office of Federal Relations. I've gone out to DC not once, but I'm going twice, again in 2 weeks, to lobby for the increase of Pell Grants, which currently sit at a maximum award of $5,815, and we're going to be pushing that for $6,000. We have the experience, we have the practicality, we have the idealism.
We're to go with Nivedh, same question. You may start now.
So, it's a good question. I would argue that we do have a lot of experience on our executive board and on our committee. We've assembled a diverse group of individuals, a very intelligent group of individuals that we personally vetted for Sky. Margaux Taylor is the chair of the sexual assault of the inaugural Sexual Assault Prevention Task Force. Committee. It's a full committee this year, and so she's someone who's worked on a lot of SAP issues this year, and she did that without even using a big budget at all. So she's going to be very helpful in terms of doing issues on working on sexual assault this year. In terms of affordability and mental health, we've had presentations from various different groups, including the Office of Federal Relations this year, and I've established a relationship by going to meet them personally. So we will continue to work on that this year.
Thank you. And Camilo, go for it.
So one of the things that we're very proud of with our Rutgers is that we have one of the most inclusive, if not the most inclusive, ticket in RUSA elections history. We have people from all around the university, from athletics. We have student athletes on our ticket. We have science majors on our ticket. We have people that have been in RHA. We have RAs on our ticket. We have many people that can properly contribute to RUSA. And going forward, I'm very proud of the ticket that we've assembled for this.
Thank you. Oscar.
So I'll define the differences between the two tickets very simply, but our ticket essentially works to solve problems, and we have been doing that in the past. Our ticket hasn't just supported resolutions, we've created bills, which are actions, and that's something that we look to continue throughout the next year. One important aspect is that a lot of the solutions, if you look at the platform on both websites, seem to be things that we've done in the past, but Vote Sky RU advocates for solutions that haven't been, such as lobbying in Trenton. That's something that will actually decrease our tuition, not just keep it at what it is. And working with the Office of Federal Relations may or may not help, but people have been working with the Office of Federal Relations for the past 10 years. But now is the time to start something new.
Chang, the floor is yours.
So I think one thing that sets our ticket apart is that we're really seeking creative and innovative solutions and approaches to the issues that we have on hand. For example, with the handing out water bottles at registered fraternity parties, that's something that I don't think anyone really thought of doing because it just seems so out there. We, like Evan mentioned, have people on our ticket from all corners of the university. And I think by reaching out to this diverse group, this is why we chose the name Our Rutgers. We're choosing to represent everyone here, listen to what everyone has to say, and try to hear their opinions in order to come up with solutions that they'll actually listen to.
Thank you. Margaux Taylor?
I think the two main things that sets our ticket apart, Scarlet Knights for You, is initiative and inspiration. Not only has our ticket, not just the top three, but every single person on our ticket shown initiative, not just in RUSA, but in the Rutgers community, by being fully committed, by taking part in organizations, by taking part in issues at Rutgers. But we've also been very inspirational in the fact that we are such a diverse ticket, representing people from every ethnicity and gender. We are an extremely diverse ticket that shows other people that you can do it.
You're good. All right, so I'm actually going to leave it open for questions on the floor. So we have about 5 minutes left, 6 minutes exactly. So if you want to ask questions, you can raise your hand, I'll call on you, and then you can ask questions for either ticket. Question? Okay, all right, that's fine. Whatever.
Oh, I have a question.
Hang out.
So, last year, Caitlin Kovacs died of alcohol poisoning. What are your stance on curbing underage alcohol consumption at Rutgers, New Brunswick?
Who's that question for?
Both tickets.
Okay, so we're going to give both tickets 45 seconds to respond. Justin and Niv, when you're ready.
That's an incredible question, Hangout, and I'd like to say that, one, we have the experience related to alcohol culture. So I created, with one of the representatives on our ticket, Victor Krapivin, the Medical Amnesty Ad Hoc Committee, and we wrote a detailed and well thought out and well-reasoned 20-page report that is going to the University Board of Governors and is going to become university policy to deal with the Good Samaritan Law. On top of that, my vice president worked on the alcohol in the stadium's resolution, and that is working towards curbing alcohol culture. One thing we did last weekend was handing out water bottles at fraternity parties, but that's just the start. That was from a limited campaign budget that we were restricted to by the elections committee. Once we are elected, we're going to be expanding that to food. We're going to be co-sponsoring events with the Scarlet Honor Council before tailgates. We are going to actually do what we say we're going to do.
Thank you. Niv?
Yeah. So, in addition to my experience in RUSA, I've also served in the Scarlet Honor Council, which is an organization that falls under student conduct in order to promote not only academic integrity, but in sort of curbing underage drinking and things like that. And they'll be holding, and I actually unfortunately had to resign from this position in order to become the treasurer of RUSA, but in that position, I've served food prior to football games to students to ensure that, if they're going to be binge drinking that day, that, they still stay safe by having something in their stomach. In addition, I'm going to continue to work on, curtailing, binge drinking late at night by working with not only public safety, but other offices all around campus. So.
All right, I think we're going to just wrap it up there. Okay, no, okay. So could we just give a round of applause to both tickets? Yeah. So we're going to do closing statements. It's going to be 45 seconds each. And since Justin started first, they're going to start first again for closing statements. And they're going to, yes, go ahead, you will close last. So Justin, when you're ready.
Time after time, we've seen rewards from difficult decisions we've made. Not for quick political gains, but for long-term and meaningful change. We must always remember how far we've come, but also how far we have yet to go. As your president, RUSA will not be about me, nor Evan, nor Shannon, nor the representatives in the body, nor the senators in the University Senate working tirelessly to enact change. Rather, it will be about you, the students. I am running for president of RUSA because I believe I am the best candidate to fight for the issues that you and I care about. I'm surrounded by an incredible team of passionate, diverse, and driven students from all over Rutgers who are committed with me to serving you, to serving us, and to fighting for our Rutgers. Thank you.
Thank you. Nivedh?
So thank you again all for coming and listening to all the questions and all of our answers. And I hope you all make an informed decision once the elections come on April 1st. I encourage you to check both of our websites on ourrutgers.com and voteskyru.com and read about our platforms and continue to stay engaged in student policy. This is what we want to continue to see. We want to see students engaged in their student government because that's what's going to create real student change. Like I said, I'm running with a greatly diverse group of individuals and an incredibly intelligent group of individuals with Scarlet Knights for You, and we're looking to make some real change next year. We've already shown it on the various initiatives that we worked on and the things I've discussed, and we're here to bring to you a real Rutgers revolution. Thank you.
Thank you. And Camilo.
I just want to say to close this out that of how incredibly proud I am and we are up here of the Our Rutgers ticket that we've assembled. As I said, this is the most inclusive ticket that has ever run in a RUSA election. People all around the university, people that care about the issues that we need to take on. We're getting many endorsements, not just because we have reach, but because people have seen our platform. People have seen the things that we stand for, and people understand that it is a student-first platform, not a RUSA-first platform. Going forward, we need to address the day-to-day needs of students, and we have the experience to do that. And we have very confident, hardworking people on our ticket that don't need to be told to do their work and to get things accomplished because they are driven already and they're already making change on campus for Rutgers.
Thank you, Mohamed. Oscar. You can start now.
I agree with Evan's point that we need a student-first ticket, and that's what Scarlet Knights for You is. We named it Scarlet Knights for You to create a Rutgers that's for you, and that's our goal. A lot of us have, struggled getting along in freshman year, and we've all gone through those personal experiences just like you have. And we want to make that, our goal is to make those experiences go away. And we're going to try our best to create real initiatives and continue our good work throughout the next year to really enact change and make a real Rutgers revolution instead of just calling ourselves revolutionary. I think our Rutgers is a great name, but I really hope that the Sky Ticket can create a your Rutgers.
Thank you. Shannon?
Throughout these past few days campaigning, these past few weeks, I've gotten to know the people on our ticket pretty well, whether they're in RUSA and whether they're not in RUSA right now. And I just want to reiterate how incredible these people are. If you look at our Facebook page, or if you look at our website, at their accomplishments, these candidates have done so much for this university. By the end of my 4 years here, I wanted to say that I have created some form of tangible, positive change at this school. And every single person I'm running with on this ticket feels the same exact way. They're so passionate, they're so driven, and all we want to do is create better change for our Rutgers.
Thank you. Margaux.
Hi everyone, Margaux Taylor again, and I just want to reiterate everybody's point that RUSA really needs to be about the students and about the average Rutgers student. And that's why I'm just so proud to be running with Scarlet Knights for You, which really represents the average our average Scarlet Knight, which is diverse, which is involved in other organizations, which has different majors, and will really represent your average Rutgers student. And they're all so excited to get involved. And I think everybody on our ticket is ready to make change at Rutgers and has already made change at Rutgers.
Thank you. Final round of applause, please, for all the candidates on the stage. thank you all for being here, taking the time out to come tonight. Remember, voting is from April 1st to 5th. And have a great rest of your night. Thank you.